Hey everybody! I know it's been forever. See my doggy in the background? Say hi, Lily. Hi, Lily. Anyway, I wanted to give you guys an update, take a little garden tour because we have upped our game big time. We dipped into savings big time. And I'm quite pleased with where things are. There's still a lot of things that we want to do, but let me just show you all the changes. Okay, so the biggest change, and I think I've talked about this in past videos, how we were going to lay out the black tarp. That was all rocks, so we had to cover that up, which is what we did. And so we broke the bank, kind of, and bought metal raised beds because we didn't want to deal with termites, which is huge in eastern North Carolina. And so, yeah, we bought six, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yep, 6 of these 8-foot by 4-foot beds, and they are 1 foot deep. So let's take a little bit of a tour of this. We've got this edging, it's just plastic edging right here. And eventually we're going to fill this with a mulch of some sort, probably. I don't know. I'm still adding, I want to add some more metal garden beds that are like round. Would be really cool. I got a lot of the cloth bags and stuff. But let's start with the 6 garden beds because that's what we started with. And this was the first one that I planted. It has a lot of my winter type crops in it. It does have a variety of different carrots. There were radishes and turnips in here. We've harvested all of those. That is all broccoli, which my guess is it's just going to get too stinking hot and it's going to bolt. I do have one little head right there, and then there's a couple of other plants in other beds that are getting some little broccoli heads. But I don't think we're going to get a whole lot out of that. And then I do have some sunflowers that I have planted in here because I was reading that sunflowers really loosen up the soil. So one thing that we did for these that I would like to have changed, but it cost us a lot of money just as we did it anyway. And we had a truckload of topsoil delivered. Stupid looking. We had a truckload of topsoil delivered. I'll show that to you in a little bit because we still have some left. And we put in the bottom of these beds most of them have we had a bunch of pine straw on our cement patio in the back that had been laying there for a couple of years, and honestly it had turned a lot of it into compost underneath. There wasn't a whole lot of it, so we just put a thin layer at the bottom of each of these beds, except that far one. I actually tried putting sticks in it and I felt like it took up too much space, but I don't know, it seems to be working okay. So we put the topsoil in all of them, and then we added compost on top. I would like to mix in some peat moss or something. I think this bed right here, we actually dug out a little bit of the dirt and added peat moss and tried to mix it in the bed. But it's going to take a while of some amending of soil to get these to exactly where we wanted. But things are growing, and they are growing well. So I am very pleased regardless. I believe that's a weed of some sort, but I'm not sure what it is. I've just let it grow. I don't know why, I just did. So again, these are carrots. Um, there's different varieties of carrots, and yeah, the names have kind of wore off. These are cosmic purples. I'm not sure what these are. There are tender sweets in here, but I'm not sure which ones they are. The radishes used to be here, and the turnips used to be here. We had 0 beets. We had 0 beets germinate. They were supposed to be over here too somewhere, but they were golden beets and they didn't germinate at all. There's a little bit of a broccoli head right there. Yeah, I'm not expecting much from the broccoli. The cauliflower over here is super puny. I'm not sure why. Because I have cauliflower in some other places, and there used to be some in that pot up there, but a bunch of worms got that one. But they're much bigger in other places, so I'm not sure what's up with these guys. So if we end up pulling them or something instead, that's fine. And then some more carrots here. These are, I think these are the tender sweets. And there's a little sunflower struggling back there. I did plant a lot of things too close. I tend to do that on a regular basis, but these were broccoli plants. I have a really hard time. I had to weed out or thin out the broccoli over here because I planted so many seeds and they were so close together. And I hate throwing away plants. I really, really hate it. It's really hard for me. So I took some of the things that I thinned out there and I stuck them over here before we ever planted the tomatoes. Well, we planted tomatoes as little seedlings and they have taken off and overgrown the broccoli. So, but that one's starting a little bit of a broccoli head down there too. So maybe we'll get some broccoli, hopefully. So we are trying a new variety of tomatoes, trying some determinate tomatoes so they don't grow quite so tall. And that's what these guys in the front are. These are called Kiwalo, and I believe, if I remember what I read correctly, they were developed in Washington State, I believe. Seattle, I think. But they're growing really, really well. Nothing has come to be ripened yet, so we haven't been able to taste them yet, but they are growing very, very nicely. So we're thinking if these are really tasty and we really, really like them, we're going to stick with determinants like this, just because it's easier to take care of them. I mean, our other tomatoes in the back haven't really been climbing very far, and I don't know if that's because of the topsoil issue. I'm not sure. I do need to fertilize them tonight. That is my plan if the sun doesn't go down by the time I'm done with this video. So interplanted are some basil. I have a couple of basil in there. And then again, there's broccoli all throughout that I put in here because I couldn't throw away the seedlings that I had thinned out. So I did have an idea of what these were in the back for tomatoes, but a couple of them died because I planted them out too early, I think, and I had to replace them. And by that time, I was just trying to get things done, and I didn't keep track of what was what. But these are coming out kind of small, so I'm thinking these are the yellow pear tomatoes. These as well, which we have not tried before. A friend of mine told me about them and said they were super delicious. So we're trying some of the yellow pear tomatoes. Got some more broccoli. Another tomato, another broccoli. There's a little broccoli head on that one. Okay. And then we come over here, and these are onions. Now, for the life of me, I cannot get onions to bulb. I'm really nervous that these are not going to bulb. I have some more planted throughout the garden because I had so many onion bulbs. I have never grown from seed, and everybody I've been talking to says it's so much better to grow onions from seed than from the little pods that you get. So planted within the onions, I threw a little dill plant in there, and it's doing quite well. So there's dill in my onions. I cut some of that today because we are floating in cucumbers already. Some more basil. That is a cayenne pepper. That is a beautiful red flower. The 3 that are on there are old, so they're dying off. There's 2 new ones coming up. We were having the hardest time in the beginning of getting bees. There were like no bees around whatsoever. So I got this one And there's one over here, which is interesting because when I bought this one, it was yellow. And now it's red. So, anyway. And then we ended up buying 2 of these and placing them out here because we're like, where are the bees? We had 0 bees. But once we placed the petunias out here, shortly after that, the bees showed up. And they showed up with glamour. I mean, because we were concerned about our cucumbers not getting pollinated. But they showed up just in time, and they've been pollinating their little buns off, so. Well, that little basil's got some yuck on him. I'm not sure what that is. Anyway, there's more basil there and there. And then, again, broccoli transplants. There's a head there. It's not very tight, so I'm thinking it's kind of bolting a little bit. But we still might be able to eat that. Some more tomatoes. I think these are, you can tell by the way they look. I think they're like a cherry tomato. I do believe. So there's 3 of those in this bed. And another cayenne pepper. This was garlic. All through here was garlic. And this cucumber, I think, is choking it out. So I don't know if I'll get any garlic or not. This cucumber has gone wild. I wanted it to go wild. I wanted it to cascade over the edge and not trellis it and just see how it did. And it seems to be doing pretty well. I feel like we're getting more cucumbers off the other plants. But look at this guy. He's like way over here. But I just wanted some wildness in my garden. That's me. That's me. I would love to just let things be totally wild. Just start planting things throughout the yard and let it grow amongst the grass. But I don't think my husband would go for that. So this bed over here. Oh, hi, little bee. Oh, so happy bee. I'm so happy they're here. They're so sweet. Anyway, we have 3 more cucumber plants in this bed. These are pickling cucumbers. I didn't get a separate cucumber for eating, which I wish I would have. I need to get better at planning my garden. I'm really bad at planning. I'm just like, oh, I'm going to put this here and put that there. Hey, I found this plant. Let's put that over here. Hey, these seeds did a lot better than I thought they would. Let's put that here. So I really need to plan. Yeah. So I need to start taking notes of things I want to do for next year, things I want to do for this fall, so that I remember by the time that season rolls around. So anyway, these have been very, very, very productive. I actually made some pickles today and still have cucumbers sitting on the counter that have been harvested. There's some right there that are close to being harvested, but there's a ton of them on here. So, and then there's dill mixed in, which I have cut off some of that today to make my dill pickles. There's a close-up of those gorgeous petunias. Aren't they beautiful? Now that the bees have discovered the cucumbers and stuff, they're kind of leaving the petunias alone, which is fine. There's a sunflower coming. Ain't she pretty, baby? And look, more broccoli that I couldn't just throw away, so I planted it over here. Another cayenne pepper. There's another cayenne pepper back there, right about there. But I think that cucumber's just kind of overtaken it. So, not sure how that's going to go. These 2 tomato plants are Aunt Molly's husk cherries, I think is what they're called. I've never tried them before, so I wanted to. And I'm really excited to see those to develop and see what they taste like. There's some right there. So I have one little borage plant, which I know is edible, but I've never actually used it as an edible, so I don't know. This little guy, he was a replacement. I don't remember what he is. And here is another huge, huge sunflower. They're not getting as tall as I expected. Maybe they'll get taller later. And there's that cayenne pepper plant. but this guy is kind of, he's grabbed hold. I had bush beans over here. There's one bush bean plant left, which has all beaned out, so I will pull him out probably this evening and harvest the beans because there's no new flowers. And it's about, bean season's about done because it just gets too hot. This cucumber plant has kind of gone a little wild down below, which I'm kind of sad because there are onions and garlic down there. But, yeah, that goes back to planting. This is a sunflower, which was severely suppressed until I pulled the beans out. I did have snow peas going up this trellis here. Those have all been harvested, and the plants have been pulled out because they were getting powdery mildew really, really bad. This is a speckled Roman tomato. You can see those coming right there. I don't think I planted enough of these. I'm not sure. Like I said, I didn't label them. He definitely needs some pruning, though. He's a shaggy little fella. But I like that it's just kind of growing up this trellis that I had for the peas and stuff. These are, I didn't expect these to come back. I planted these out early. I planted them out in March. And it got cold, too cold for them, and it kind of stunted their growth, and I thought it killed them off. But apparently not. They are a cowpea, so they're very loving of heat. I can't remember the full name because it's a lot of words. Mississippi pink eye purple hole pea. I believe that's what it's called. So they are growing back, which is awesome. All of this in here is edamame, which I'll probably be pulling. Go away, fly. I'll probably be pulling these tomorrow. I don't think that these pods are going to get any bigger than what they are now. So I'll probably pull all those. Through the middle, there was supposed to be garlic and onions. There is a weed in the middle that I can't reach to pull out. Maybe once the edamame is gone, I can reach it. I don't know. There's a couple more onions. There's my little gnome holding a mushroom. Isn't he cute? And then we come over to this side. This guy was supposed to go up the trellis, but as you can see, he's gone wild and is just creating his own path. I believe this is a beefsteak tomato. We've been having issues with all the tomatoes on this splitting, so we've pulled probably 3 or 4 off of there, so I'm not sure what's going to happen with that. There's another cucumber plant and another beefsteak tomato. These guys haven't been splitting on this plant, so we might have to stake this plant though pretty soon. So, but the cucumbers are loving the trellis. I did have this guy here. I thought I had you come in over here to go back down. Do you not like to grow down? Is that the problem? Do cucumber plants not like to grow down? Grow down, grow down. She said down. Okay. I don't know if that'll help or not, but so over here, oh, we got one more metal bed. There's my other little mushroom decoration. And, oh, I forgot, I threw a strawberry plant in here. I had an extra. So these over here are red potatoes that we got from the grocery store. And we didn't eat them in time, and so they were growing the little chits on there. And so I just went ahead and planted them, and they are bombing. They are just awesome. So much better. These other potatoes I got from a friend. She told me what they were, but I don't remember. And they're not coming up so well. So, because they were planted all through here. And as you can see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 plants. So I don't know what those guys are going to do, but these guys are jamming. Loving it. The only issue is there is a summer squash hiding in here. So I don't know what we're going to do with that guy. I was going to move him, which I still might because there's room over there since those potatoes aren't coming up. And there's another yellow squash right there. He's coming. I realized a couple days ago that I did not plant any zucchini, which bad. Because we love zucchini. So there is the other little daisy flower. And there's another squash in between these little cauliflowers. The cauliflowers I might just pull out so that squash can thrive, because we eat more squash than we do cauliflower, to be honest. Alright, these little potatoes right here, skeeters are coming out. Across the way, whoop, and I'll take you guys over there in a little bit, a lot's changed. I had a bunch of these little black pots over there, and there were potatoes in there. And they were a fingerling potato that I had gotten, gosh, a couple years ago. And I had just let those pots go, and the potatoes just kept coming back, coming back. Well, we finally emptied all those pots because we needed that space. And I wanted to sift out the dirt and stuff. And so I found a whole bunch of little tiny fingerling potatoes that were taking root. So I pulled those out and I planted them in here. So we'll have a nice little harvest of fingerling potatoes there. Okay. And then that little tray right there are some marigold seeds that I started. They're not growing as fast as I expected. And this is some basil. I have a lot of basil left. I think the sun kind of bleached them a little bit. I probably need to take them under where there's not quite so much sun because they're not established. And I got these little tower guys from Dollar Tree. I may regret it, but I can't afford the big fancy green stock things. So I got these. I built 2 towers out of them, 6 tall on each one. And I got strawberry plants. They are an Everbearer strawberry plant I got from Stark Brothers. First time we ever ordered from Stark Brothers, and I got a couple of different things I'll show you. There's a marigold and a basil, but most of this is strawberries. I'm really hoping they kind of cascade over the sides. They seem happy in here, like very happy. I'm not sure what this is. I had planted it in another pot, but that pot was too small, and so I pulled it out and put it over here. This is a garlic chive, or a bunching onion, I think. I've not had luck with those, so I would not be surprised if they just kind of went kaput. So, new today that I just put in, I got these from Stark Brothers as well. I'm so excited. I have been wanting their pink lemonade blueberries for a couple of years now, and I finally got them. That's what this guy is here, and the one in the matching pot over there are pink lemonade blueberries from Stark Brothers. I just planted those today. And then in the middle is a raspberry, Crimson Night raspberry. So it's a dark raspberry. He may get moved to our little orchard food forest thing that we're kind of starting. So, because there's other raspberry plants over there. But he's right there for now. This little Christmas tree thing that I put together was supposed to be the climber for these purple hull peas, which that one came back. Most of them died, but that one came back. These other things in here, these are onions. As you can see, they're starting to die back, but they have not bulbed. You look at them and they're no bulbs. So I don't know what I'm doing wrong, but I'm not having good luck with onions bulbing. I had the same problem the year before last. I didn't even try them last year. So that's how that's going. So I come over here. Oh, I got these at Dollar Tree as well, but they are too small to grow anything. I was putting them on my front steps, and I was like, this just isn't going to work. So I was pulling plants out of here to put into the towers. But there's more strawberries and bunching onions. And I think this is sweet alyssum, I think is what this is that I planted. So there's that. That is our front garden. Over here, we've got those horrid elephant ears that we can't seem to get rid of. I hate those things. This is a plant I bought at Lowe's. It was on clearance. I just fell in love with it. I thought it was so pretty. Diplandium pink. I'm not sure what it is, but it's really pretty. I really like it. It needs to be taken out of the pot and planted somewhere, but I don't have a place for it yet. The amaryllis bulbs we had in the side over there, And every year they kept getting cut back with the weed eater. And I'm like, I want those out so I can actually plant them and use them. So they've been sitting in these pots for a while because I don't have a place to put them yet. And somehow, my husband put them all in pots. There was a random tomato plant seedling apparently in there, and so that's growing out of that pot. This is a tree that we took from my in-laws' house, and we're really hoping it'll root and grow and we can plant it out eventually. It's got really pretty red, purple colored leaves. I'm not sure what kind of tree it is. These trees are all trees that my husband has planted from seed. Apples, lemons, oranges that we bought at the store, and he's growing them from seed, and he's so proud of them. We are aware that the apple trees, we don't know what kind of apples they're actually going to produce. That can't be a guarantee. Just because it came from a Granny Smith doesn't mean it's going to taste just like a Granny Smith when it grows. But he is just thrilled with all of these trees, and I think it's so cool that he's able to do that. He's actually got some grapes that he is stratifying right now, some seeds from grapes that we bought at the store. See how that goes. This tomato plant was growing up the side of an original one, and so I thought, well, I'm going to plant it and see if it'll actually grow. It looks a little sad, so I'm not sure what it's going to do. So let's come over here real quick. We've got so much going on now. So much going on. The hole's still there. The big giant hole, unfortunately, is the bane of my existence. I hate this thing. We did find a place where we could rent a jackhammer if we wanted to. But I think sorry, this bug's flying around my face. I think we're going to give up on trying to get all the cement out. We're just trying to break holes so that the water can drain better. So we got a little rotary hammer. It's not very big, but I managed to get that hole right there, which helps to drain a little bit, but underneath all this cement is clay. So 18 to 20 inches down from our yard is clay. So my next goal is to break the wall areas along the side, break that up and get rid of it so that the water can spread out that way, and have more ways to drain than just through that one hole. So, and then we're going to fill it in, we're going to fill it in with a lot of debris from our burn pile back there. I know you can't see it very well. And some dirt, that topsoil that was left over that we had dumped. And I'm probably going to just throw some flower seeds in here for this season and grow some flowers that I can cut and put in bouquets and whatnot. And then next year we'll add more dirt, compost, all that stuff together. And I want to make it a bona fide actual like flower garden, like plan it out and figure out how. I'm thinking I want a rose bush as the centerpiece, but I'm not sure about that one. But I want flowers that are going to come back every year. I don't have to keep planting over here. So that is the plan for that. The gazebo, we have decided to make it into a greenhouse. I know there's a video I have out there on my channel somewhere talking about what we're going to do for it. And we were going to redo it and keep it a gazebo. But this year we went to Tractor Supply and bought a little $50 greenhouse. And it stepped up our game like big time. So we're like, okay, the gazebo needs to be a greenhouse. So the electric, there's no electric that goes to it. That's been cut off. But we're leaving the conduit and the outlets in there in case we decide we want to run wire again and put electric back in here. So the plan is to get rid of this swing. I have a friend that's thinking about getting it, but I haven't heard from her, so I don't know if they're going to get it or not. If they're not, I will be advertising for somebody to come get this swing. It's a double swing. It's really cool. But my goal is to build shelves inside on this side right here, like U-shaped shelves. And then the table and the bench is going to stay over there because that'll come in handy as a greenhouse or if I just want to hang out. We'll probably put, I'm thinking, metal across the bottom and then screening and plastic that'll roll up like right through here. We're going to have to get some doors on both sides, and then we're going to have to get some vents so that we can vent stuff out. All right, so that's just a brief overview of what our plan is for this gazebo, which before anything gets done, I need to seal this wood so it stops rotting. And nothing is like so rotten that it's not going to hold together right now, but I really do need to paint it, seal it, something, and paint the floor as well, especially if I'm going to be potting plants and watering stuff. It needs to be sealed against the moisture, so that will have to come first. I was hoping to get it done this winter, but it didn't get done, so it'll probably have to be this fall once it cools off. I'm not going to do it in the heat. Alright, so we're doing an experiment. We've never grown anything near the gazebo before. And so it varies over here. Like over there is full sun, full on almost all freaking day. So it gets very, very, very hot over there. I'll go back over there in a little bit and show you some things that we've kind of been thinking about doing to improve it, which will be a while because we spent so much money on everything else. But I'll let you know what our ideas are. So anyway, over here we have mint. Everything over here is doing superbly well. Loves it over here. That is a pecan tree that we found today. It was growing out from under the gazebo right there, and I thought it was just a weed, so I pulled it out, and it came right out without any problem. Came out with the root, and there's a little pecan on it. So my husband and his love of trees, I guess, it's like, oh, we got to plant that. So that's a pecan tree. I don't know what will become of him, but he seems happy where he is. So these are tomato plants, and what we did was we put hooks on the outside of the gazebo, and we're stringing it down and using those plastic tomato clips to hold it onto the string. And it seems to be doing super, super well. I think the tomatoes love the fact that this is not all sun all day. So it gets some sun, but it's not like all day. This guy here is a beefsteak, and so is this first one. I just planted these in here today because they were in small pots and they were getting root bound. So they aren't strung up yet, but they will be. These two are doing really well. I don't remember what these are. Because originally these were at the back of our house, but our dog kept digging in the dirt in the pots, so I had to move them, and we decided to move them out here. So now, since they've been juggled around, I don't remember what's what. They're all tomatoes, I know that. So over here, I had to move this one when I put the beefsteaks that I just planted out here. So this is over here for now. I don't know where it's going to stay. This is lettuce. I trimmed all the lettuce off, and it's growing back on that stalk, so it looks like a funky little palm tree. And that is a cayenne pepper. This I did not plant. It was here when we got here, but I discovered this year, because usually I've been just cutting it back because I thought it was just like a weed or whatever, but it's a Virginia something or other, and it's like a mini magnolia type plant. It's not like a big magnolia tree, but the flowers look just like magnolia flowers, but smaller. So I don't know what he's going to do. We're keeping him for now, but he is a little big for this area, so I don't know. There's more lettuce growing back, and I'm just going to let it grow because, hey, as long as I can have lettuce, I'm happy. Another tomato plant. This is all cilantro. As you know, cilantro hates the heat. So now I'm growing these, or letting them go for seed. So the seeds are starting to come through. So I can use it either as coriander seeds or save it to plant for next year. Threw a little tomato in there. He's not doing so well. That's more lettuce that's starting to grow back, but I don't like how it looks growing back. It looks kind of weak. And yet another tomato plant on the string system. So they are very happy over here. That is an enormous gardenia that needs some serious, serious cutting back or completely dug out. I'm not a fan. I don't like the smell of the flowers, although there are a ton of buds this year. The flowers are just too sweet for me. I'm not a gardenia fan, and it blocks the doorway. So that guy may be saying goodbye after this year. I don't know yet. So on this side of the house, we have never planted before either. I don't know if I posted a video or not. Last fall, I pulled some cuttings off of this original hydrangea bush that was here when we moved here, and I propagated. I tried for 12 plants, and 9 of them pulled through. So that is a huge success rate in my book. So we planted one here, one there, there's another one there, and another one on the end. So we're going to fill out this area with hydrangeas eventually, probably this fall. We're going to cover this with either weed fabric or cardboard, probably weed fabric because it's close to the house, and we're going to mulch it so all the weeds are gone. These guys are little garlic chives that I pulled back here because they were out front and it was too much sun. So anyway, that right here is another cayenne pepper. I just planted some extra stuff over here just to fill in spaces and because I was running out of room for tomato plants. These both, did I plant 3 tomato plants? I did. There's another tomato plant right there. I know at least 2 of them are Isis candy tomatoes. So what I did is we had this wire shelving that is like, gosh, 10 feet tall maybe. I have no idea. So I put that up there that I can tie the tomato plant to as it grows for support. And then that's a shoe rack, over the door shoe rack, for the same purpose of the tomato plant. Back here we have corn and a whole bunch of flowers that reseeded themselves from last year. I don't remember the name of this corn. It's a sweet corn. And there are a couple of, I didn't think they'd grow, but that's a pumpkin. And there's another pumpkin right there. All the flowers that are in here are zinnias and marigolds, and those reseeded themselves from last year. I had a whole bunch in this area last year. So you can see all the little marigolds, and they're super tiny, which is interesting. They're super tiny, but I'm cool with that. I like the tiny ones. The zinnias haven't gotten tall enough yet to bloom. So oh, there's one over there. I've kind of let this just grow wild. I did try to put some strawberries back here, but I don't think they were good quality plants to begin with. So they haven't done anything. There were some watermelon seeds that I planted back here. I don't think they were viable. But there's a little zinnia right there. Tiny little, they're like little babies. Little babies. Anyway, so that's how that's going. I need to fertilize everything really, really soon. That's the $50 greenhouse that we bought. That was a game changer for us this year. Mike was able to grow his trees from seed because of this guy, and my seedlings took off like wildfire when we put them in there. So yeah, that's why that's going to be a bigger version of this. So let me walk you to the other garden. Well, actually, let's go back to the front garden, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about what we're thinking about doing. Hopefully real fast, because I know this video is going to get kind of long. But so in this garden bed, I want to eventually at each corner, and then 2 in the middle on both of the long edges, put tall 4x4 posts and connect them with wire, and then the wire can go across this way as well. And that can serve several purposes. One, I want to put solar lights out here, because a lot of times we'll be working like at this time of night and we still have stuff to do and it's too dark. So if we have the solar lights hanging from the top, that would be very, very helpful. And then we can also use string, like we have at the gazebo over there, to tie up tomatoes to the wires. And then we can also use the wires to clip shade cloth. Because this, like I said, the sun is bearing down on this a lot. So sometimes I think shade cloth would be very, very helpful. So, but that's for future stuff. Future stuff. Oh, and we're down to one car now. My baby's still around the corner, but she's not purring very well. She's got leakage, transmission leakage, oil leakage, other things. I don't want to get into it because part of it makes me angry. Because somebody was supposed to fix something, and I think they kind of gypped me and didn't actually fix it, but charged me. So anyway, so this is all new. It's kind of an interesting shape. We're probably going to add to this at some point, so it's not going to be this funny little L shape. But we have a blueberry plant and a raspberry, and this is an apple tree. I believe that one's Golden Delicious. This is Honeycrisp tree, another raspberry plant, and another blueberry plant. The thing that I did where I screwed up is these two are summer fruiting. These two are fall fruiting. So I'm not sure that they are going to pollinate each other. You don't have to have pollinators or companions to make blueberries or raspberries grow. It just helps them to grow. So it may be that we pull these out and put them somewhere else and get two more like these and put them over here. So this is where all those black pots were at that I was talking about that had potatoes in them. There was a blue tarp out here underneath all those pots. Well, that was out here for over a year. So it made this ground perfect for an in-ground bed. And I was like, all right, it's far enough away from the house. Let's go buy some wood. And we got heat-treated wood, not pressure-treated, heat-treated. So it's a little bit better. Technically, that's not supposed to have ground contact, but we're hoping it'll last for a little while. And then what was in all those black pots, you can see they're all stacked up over there because we're going to use them for something else. I poured all that dirt out. I had made a sifter with hardware cloth and some wood and put it over our wheelbarrow. And by hand, we sifted all, 10 of those pots, I think there was. And it made a beautiful soil, absolutely beautiful soil. So we put that soil back in here with some fertilizers and stuff like that. And so over here, this garden's doing really, really well. There's 3 tomato plants there. The one in the middle is one of those determinate ones, a Kawalo. And then there's another tomato there and in that corner. So we do have to set up a system for tying these tomato plants up. We're thinking about doing PVC pipe over the wood stakes. But my gosh, PVC has gotten so expensive. It's crazy. So we had to step back a little bit and see what we're going to do with it. But that's a bell pepper. I think that's banana pepper. And that's a bell pepper. There are several sunflowers that I planted out here. Not as tall as some of the other ones I've planted. I planted these, but I'm not really sure. I don't remember what it was. There's one there, and there's some in the back. I don't remember what they were. I didn't write it down. I'm really bad about that. There are 2 broccoli. Again, they were transplants from when I thinned out from over yonder. These 2 are also pepper plants, bell peppers, I believe. And I have a couple of dill in there. A dahlia that I am in love with. I've never planted dahlias before, and I love it. I think they are so beautiful. But there are sunflowers and zinnias throughout the bed, along the edges, just to add a little pop of color whenever they're ready to come out. So that's that. Oh, probably wondering what these guys are for. We bought 2 seedless Concord grapevines. So they're planted there and there, and we're going to string wire across all 4 of these T-posts. But they're not at the point where they need the wire yet, so we just haven't gotten to that part. So we're doing grapevines as well. I told you, we're jumping all in this year. All in. We've probably spent more money on garden stuff this year than anything else. That's what's left of the topsoil, which is going to go to fill in that hole. I would love to get this out of here and possibly build not as big as this, but another wood bed like that over here. That's my goal. I had to move our compost bin. We failed at compost big time because we weren't turning it. So we just have what are they called? Pallets that we put together, and this goes in front of it whenever we want to close it off. And that's our old pile right there. We've been throwing food scraps recently on it, but it's all just like a giant root ball because we were not flipping it. So yeah, we're going to probably start fresh over here because all those little trees right there are going to come out, and we're going to chip it. We've got a tiny chipper. It doesn't chip more than 2 inches, and even that's a struggle. But we're going to chip that to have the wood and the green together and start new over there. There's 2 more hydrangeas that I had propagated. They're doing well over there. They'll look really nice in front of the shed when they get big. And was that it? Oh my gosh, I think I showed everything to you guys. So our future plan is, like I said, a lot of that debris that's right there for our burn pile, which we have not burned in a long time, is going to go in that hole because our goal is to make that area a really nice fire pit area. So, but that's a long ways working. That'll be a while before that happens. Oh, over here, lacinato kale, which I just learned recently that when it goes to seed, it doesn't get bitter like lettuce does. So I can technically still be eating these. But I am saving the seeds from it. I have discovered that is my favorite thing about gardening, is saving seeds. I know it's weird, but it just makes me very, very happy. So there's that. And there's the other 3 hydrangeas where I'm not sure where they're going to go. They're looking a little droopy because they've been out in the heat too much. They need to be in a shaded area. There are some starts for mostly azalea bushes. I was trying to propagate my Rose of Sharon bush as well, and it just wasn't working. So they died, but the azalea ones are still going pretty good. This is German thyme. I bought this at the store. It was on clearance, and I made it perk right back up. So more basil. Parsley I can't seem to get to grow. And then this is some lettuces and spinach. Eventually what I want to do, let me show you real quick. This area right here at the back porch, I want to build, you've probably seen them, where it's a wood rack basically, and most people put like 5-gallon buckets in there and make a garden out of it. But I want to do the same thing with the rack, adjust the measurements obviously, and then put those black buckets that were over there full of potatoes that we sifted the dirt out of, and build it right here and have this be lettuces and herbs, so I can come right out my back door, which is where the kitchen is, and grab lettuce and herbs whenever I need them. So that's the plan for those. And there's Lily waiting for Mama to come inside. So I guess that's it, guys. Wow, that was a long video. We've done a lot.